Good evening. My name is Maureen Mathis, and I see that we have some participants who've joined us this evening. I am a facilitator from PACAC, who's just here to get this program started. And so we welcome you this evening. Thank you for joining us. For tonight's program, you will notice at the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A. So as you have questions throughout the evening, please use the Q&A button to type your questions, and then Kara will get to your questions when she can through the presentation. Your camera and microphone are turned off, and this recording will be available in about a week on the PACAC website on www.pacac.org/virtual. So welcome to tonight's program, and I am going to turn things over to Kara Schilder from LIM College.
Thanks so much, Maureen. Let me pull up my presentation. Wonderful. Okay. Awesome. So hi, everybody. Ooh, too quick. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Just to give a little bit of an overview about LIM College. My name is Kara Schilder. I'm the admissions representative for the Pennsylvania region. I'm from Pennsylvania myself. So feel free to pop any of your questions into the Q&A. I will get to them at the end. And until then, sit back, relax, and thanks so much for joining us. There you go. So just to begin, this is me. I work with undergraduate freshman students in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Ohio, and Brooklyn areas. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I went to Upper Dublin High School. It's right near the Fort Washington area. I graduated from Hofstra University with a public relations major. So for those of you who don't know, that is in New York. So similar to you, I had dreams of coming closer to the city from Pennsylvania. Fun fact about me, obviously I'm from Philadelphia, so Wawa over Sheets, Eagles over Steelers, but overall, soft pretzels over everything. So I was supposed to have a student who was joining me tonight. His name is Johnny. He is a senior here at LIM College. Unfortunately, he did get called in by his internship today. So he will not be joining us tonight, but I figured it'd be still nice to kind of get to know a little bit about the students of LIM. So I figured I'd keep his slide in here and introduce him for him. He's from New Jersey. He is very involved on campus. Not only is he working in the admissions office, but he's an orientation leader and a first-year experience mentor. He is now a senior, and he is majoring in marketing. So here were his 3 internships that he did throughout his first 3 years, and he's currently preparing for his senior co-op. And we'll get to exactly what that means a little later in the presentation. And a fun fact that he wanted to share with you guys is that he actually studied abroad in Florence with LIM, and he was able to take a couple classes over there, including an art history class in Florence, which was his favorite class. So some of you may already know where LIM is located. We are located in the heart of Midtown Manhattan, where it all happens. We do have 3 academic buildings here in Midtown Manhattan. So we have our first one is the townhouse location, which is right here. That's at 5th and 53rd. That's where our management, marketing, international business majors are housed, as well as the admissions office, the financial aid office, and actually the president's office as well. So you may have some classes in there. If you head straight down 5th Avenue, you will pass Rockefeller Center, and then you'll hit our next building, which is our 5th Ave location. So in that building, we just have 1 floor and a high rise, and that's where your visual studies classes will be. As well as your fashion media classes. So that's more of like our creative building, I like to say. The registrar's office is there, the advising office is there. So a lot of things that you will need down the line once you join us here at LIM. Once you leave 5th Avenue and head down 45th, you'll hit Maxwell Hall. So Maxwell Hall is our traditional collegiate building. There you'll find our library, our computer lab, our bookstore, our cafe, all that good stuff. So that's where a lot of your arts and sciences classes will be held, as well as many of your general classes, and as many computer labs as you can count. So that will be super helpful for you as well. So that is our academic buildings in Midtown. Now over here is the residence hall that we are affiliated with. We have a partnership with a third-party service called Educational Housing Services, otherwise known as EHS, which you may see on our websites. So that is traditionally where many colleges across the city will house their students. So EHS has a bunch of different locations across all 5 boroughs of Manhattan. This is the one that we recommend to our LIM students so that you guys all stay together. And it's just a short minute walk away from any of our academic buildings. From the townhouse location to the Maxwell Hall location is probably the furthest walk, and it's no more than 12 minutes. So although we don't have that traditional college campus, we like to say that our city is our campus, and that is super helpful to our fashion students since we are located right off Fifth Avenue. From one building to the next, you can pass Saks on Fifth, you can pass Gucci, Balenciaga, Lululemon, which always has the coolest visual merchandising displays. But let's keep going. So looking at LIM's undergraduate class as a whole, we do have about 1,400 students on our campus. I know that number sounds a little bit big, maybe depending on what other schools you might be looking at. However, we do have that 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio to really best support our students and get you guys that one-on-one attention with our faculty. Now, something that's special about our faculty is they have either all worked in the industry prior to teaching at LIM or while teaching at LIM. So essentially you are sitting in our classroom learning so much more than just theory, but more experience, learning about fashion from industry leaders themselves. We are very proud to speak on our student body since we are a very diverse student body. We're proud to represent about 40 states throughout our country, as well as 28 international countries. I always like to say that fashion is so global that it's so important to just talk to the classmates next to you. You never know what you can learn just based on somebody's home state or even home country. So something that's really important to note about LIM is that while we are a fashion school, we really focus on that business side of the fashion industry. So the design courses here are a little bit more along the lines of digital design or area design, and I'll get to what that means just now. So here at LIM, we do offer 6 bachelor's degrees, and we have a brand new one that's just for transfer students, and I'll skip over that since here we are all incoming freshmen. And in addition to that, we offer 2 associate's degrees. So I'll start with the fashion merchandising program because that is our biggest and most versatile program in itself. Within our fashion merchandising program, you can study everything from product development, everything from right after the designer actually constructs the clothing, all the way until it gets into the consumer's hand. This shirt came out of somebody's brain, and it went through so many different steps to get to Express for me to actually purchase that. In our fashion merchandising program, you will really learn each of those steps along the way, taking in the mind of the consumer as well as the mind of the buyer and the retailer. Our visual studies program is our most creative program here on campus. It is truly, I like to say, where business meets fashion. You'll be working a lot in the studio with your hands-on learning, working with spaces and colors. The photo here actually is from a visual studies classroom. So you can see there's a lot of creative juices flowing throughout. Next is our marketing major. Our marketing major teaches a lot about how to get into the mind of the consumer and how to speak to your direct audience, how to really figure out who each brand is interested in speaking to and how to get to them. So that works a lot with advertising as well as promotion of different products in itself. Next, I'd like to speak on the management major, and I always like to say that this major is really for my students who want to be the boss. So whether that's the boss of their own business in itself, or whether that's learning a company from the ground up and kind of working through the ranks of a larger company, it's really about learning how to be a gear in a larger machine, or even building that machine yourself. So you'll learn a lot about interpersonal relationships as well as business hierarchies from the office structure. Our international business major, a lot of people think is just about traveling, but in fact, it's so much more. It deals a lot with imports and exports, as well as really learning the different business law and the different cultures of each country to respectfully do imports and exports. So I always say that like doing business in Cuba is so different from doing business in Singapore. You could mess up a deal without even realizing that it's begun. So those are the kind of things that you'll learn within that international business major, and the travel is just a plus. Next is our fashion media major, and that is our newest, although most rapidly growing in popularity major. So our fashion media major is truly one of a kind. It was actually derived from our extracurricular called the Lexington Line, which is a completely student-produced magazine. So the Lexington Line became so popular on campus, and that kind of media became so relevant within the fashion industry that we kind of have to change our curriculum as the fashion industry goes. And as you guys probably know, the fashion industry does change so often that obviously our curriculum is constantly being updated. So the fashion media major is really derived from fashion journalism, but has absolutely expanded to things like photography, filmography. I think they're even playing around with like virtual reality recently, which is very cool. And next is our business of fashion major, which, as I said, is only for transfer students. So we'll skip that one for now. In addition to our bachelor's degrees, we do offer 2 associate's degrees in fashion merchandising and fashion merchandising and management. I know I'm going through a lot of information, so if you guys do have any questions, please feel free to just pop it in the Q&A or in the chat feature, and I will get to all of the questions at the end. So some of you may have been looking at that major slide and been saying, Kara, there's so many good things that you just said. How do I pick just one major? The good news is that you don't have to pick just one major. You can pick one major and you can actually minor in any of our majors. So if there are 2 things that I said that really interested you, let's chat and we can kind of talk about what the best course of action is for you to achieve your goals. So you can minor in any of our majors, which you can see on the left-hand side there. And then I've added a couple of our most popular minors to just kind of see some examples of the different curriculums within. So one of our most popular majors is beauty, another sustainability. I often see event planning paired with visual studies, and interior home concepts is also a very large program that's been growing very quickly. We also do have then the liberal arts minors like English, art history, society, culture, and all that good stuff. So I did mention that our student was called into his internship. So I'm very excited to speak about our internship program, as we do have a huge emphasis on that here at LIM. We really like to zero in on that experiential education aspect of the fashion curriculum as a whole. So over your time here at LIM, you will be required to take 3 internships. They are built into your curriculum. We will help you find them, so don't panic. It's not overwhelming. It's part of your education here. So your first 2 internships will be spread throughout your first 2 or 3 years here. And your last one is your senior co-op, which I mentioned is what Johnny was in right now. So before you're actually able to take any of your internships for credit, you will be required to go through an internship seminar. What that means is one of our industry professional professors will teach you a class a little bit about how to prepare for that professional setting. So before your internship 1, things that you'll have to do is learn how to write a resume, what goes into a cover letter, what should you say in an interview, and what should you maybe avoid? How do you play up your strengths and weaknesses? These are all things that you will learn going into your internship 1. Then you'll have your internship 1. It can either be retail or corporate, depending on your interests, depending on your experience, and everything from there moving forward. Then you'll take your internship 2 seminar prep class. In there, you'll learn a little bit more complicated things. You now live in New York City. What happens when grandma wants to come visit and wants you to show her around? How do you call out of work? How do you deal with like conflicts in the workplace? You're never gonna like everyone, but you're gonna have to deal with it. So how? What's next? Your professor will be able to kind of help you with that going into your internship 2. Your internship 2 is traditionally a corporate internship. And that is really when you start to narrow in on what you maybe like or don't like about your first internship. You can maybe taste something else or continue to grow in that field. That takes me to your senior co-op. So your senior co-op will be the very last thing that you do before you graduate here at LIM. It's your last and final semester. You'll be working essentially 40 hours a week in the field of your choosing. And on Friday, you'll be a student. So Friday, you'll be taking your capstone class. And that's basically just talking about everything that's happening in your internship, and you'll have a small project to do along the way. Last year, actually, from our senior co-op, about 53% of our students were just offered a full-time position from their senior co-op. So purely by completing their curriculum, about half of our class had been offered an employment opportunity. Whether they took them or not totally sure, but that percentage kind of speaks for itself. Overall, the class of 2019, 94% of our students were employed within 6 months. This year, the 6 months hasn't hit just yet, so our 2020 numbers are coming soon. But there's been a lot of pivot in the intern world. So obviously, as the world changes, we kind of have to change with it. So in regards to COVID-19 and the world that we're in right now, some students may be having trouble getting internships. Most schools have said, okay, internships are canceled this year. That's not what LIM has done. We've actually created a space for students to do internship work alongside industry professionals. Even if not for a specific brand, they will still have the opportunity to complete projects, present them to industry professionals, still giving them a way to network and get their name out there. So that's just one example of how LIM is very prepared to take on whatever this next phase of life is coming to. Okay, so this is where I'm going to tell you guys to get out your phones, take pictures. Mom and Dad, I hope you're listening. How much does it cost to attend LIM? So for the 2020-2021 school year, we're looking at just under $28,000 for tuition. So for those of you who have not already started your FAFSA, it is open. So please open up your FAFSA. If you have any questions on how to fill it out, don't hesitate to reach out. I just filled one out myself for graduate school, so I can help you right through that process as personally as I can. The March 1st priority deadline for FAFSA, it is a priority deadline, but you can still fill it out after. I recommend filling it out sooner rather than later. Funds start to dwindle later in the season. 81% of our students do receive financial aid, and that is not including the merit-based scholarship that all students are reviewed for at the time of application. So many of you are probably thinking, at the time of application, how do I get there? So I'm here to tell you how to apply to LIM. We are not on the Common Application. We do have our own application on our website. If you go to limcollege.edu, in the top right-hand corner, there's a little button that says how to apply. Click it and an application will open. All that we require on that application is all of your past transcripts. So that means your high school transcript, if you took any summer courses at a community college, if you're in a dual enrollment program, any of the above, we'll take it all. For my seniors in the room right now, our early action application is open. What that means is the only real difference of that early action application versus the regular decision application, you get your decision sooner. You will be required to complete an early action interview, but that will be with me. So you will already seen me once, feel like you know me, hopefully. It's a pretty informal conversation, just for me to get to know you a little bit better, for you to have an opportunity to ask personal questions about LIM College and how our curriculum will really fit into your goals. An interview for regular decision can either be requested by the applicant or the counselor ourselves. And if we have any international students in the room, we will require the English proficiency tests. We accept the TOEFLs, the IELTS, and if you have another one, feel free to let me know, and I can always check and see if we are compliant with them as well. We will require a NACIS approved evaluation, which just means that we understand what's going on in your high school's curriculum so that we know, where you're at and how that fits into our curriculum as well, and an I-20 application upon acceptance. So since you guys all are here attending our information session today, I am able to give out fee waivers for today's program. One of the perks of having a Philly girl do the Pennsylvania exploration tonight, which is very exciting. And for my seniors who are in the room, that early action deadline is November 15th. So if all of your application material is in by November 15th, you could receive a decision around the holidays time. What better way to celebrate? And that early action application is non-binding. So what that means is if you apply, if the admissions decision goes your way, you can still have a choice as to whether or not, you choose to accept that. Okay, so that's perfect. We're about halfway through. And I will now open the floor for any questions that you guys may have. So feel free to pop anything in the chat feature. If you have any questions about the application process, if you have any questions about any of our academics in general, maybe you have questions about our residence hall, I'd be more than happy to help answer. So I'll give some of you a minute to maybe pop those questions in there. Wow, I guess I did such a good job. You guys don't have any leftover questions. So what I will do is, okay, I don't have access to the chat box, but if you guys want to take down my email, I'm gonna say it right now, so everyone get your pens and papers ready. Okay, so my email is my first name, K-A-R-A, and then a period, and my last name, which is S as in Sam, C-H-I-L-D as in David, E as in elephant, R, and that's at limcollege.edu. So feel free to send me an email. If you were here tonight, you would like that fee waiver. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned and you're maybe just feeling a little shy tonight, feel free to send me an email, and otherwise I will let you guys go for the night. So thank you so much for being here.
Nice job, Kara. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.